It's Wednesday and we're talking neglect.
Oh, foster life, the conversation starts. It's Wednesday on Foster Live. Oh, you're back.
I am back.
Oh my gosh,
Feels good.
he was like on vacation, then he was sick, and then I thought that he wasn't coming back. And
I was sicker than a dog, let me tell you.
I thought it was going to turn into Rob and Courtney's Foster Life or something.
That ain't gonna happen.
Well, I hope not, because I like working with you, and
Mhm.
it's good to have you back. And I love Courtney, but
We both love Courtney.
right, yeah, but it's you and I have been working at this for a while, and it's
Mhm.
nice to have you here and back. And we're talking on something not so fun today, but
No.
it's something I think we need to talk about. And I really was reminded yesterday that neglect does affect these kids. And one of our kids that was in the house yesterday, I ended up getting really upset at him.
Mhm.
And then after I thought about it, I thought, it kind of goes back to the neglect that he experienced in his life, and some of the things that he has gone through.
Yeah,
And,
sometimes it's tough to remember what they've been through whenever they've been your child for so long also.
right. You think about things that happen and you don't remember because you weren't there as part of their past.
Right.
So you don't remember all the things that took place in the home before you got them. And so you think that when they're digging through the dumpster, eating cookies out of a dumpster that you throw dirty diapers in all day, and you just had this huge breakfast, you're thinking it's a behavior or they're lacking attention, and it really has nothing to do with that. It goes back to their neglect and their way of coping and survival and all of that kind of stuff. And so I thought today would be the perfect day, since we just experienced this, that we should talk about neglect. And so that's what we're going to do today. Have you ever felt neglected in your life?
I personally can't think of a time I've been neglected other than maybe not being able to eat 2 bowls of cereal one time.
Right.
My parents just basically was like, nope, that's enough, you can't have it.
Right. And I think that that's an interesting thing that you bring up, because there's sometimes in life that we feel like we're neglected,
Mhm.
and then you realize,
Yeah, at the time I thought I was
Right.
being neglected, but now thinking about it, I was like, well, thank goodness I didn't
Yeah.
have that second bowl of cereal.
yeah, maybe I shouldn't be having second bowls of cereal either. I actually don't eat cereal, but then there's times in life where people really seriously are neglected, and neglect can look like a lot of different things.
Yes.
And so I think we're going to start this conversation today. We want you to definitely put your comments in and reply and keep the conversation going, because these conversations are designed to help foster parents, adoptive parents, kinship parents, and parents in need. So we'll be back after this.
On Foster Life.
Hi, I'm Mitchell. I'm from the Netherlands and we love foster teaching.
Welcome back back to Foster Life today. We're talking about neglect.
Yes.
Not really a fun story, but I hope we're giving a lot of good information, because I know that a lot of our kids, even that we've adopted, have neglect issues. And I think that if we open the conversation, hopefully it helps remind us that we need to, how we should deal with things.
Right.
So,
Well, I know a big one that doesn't get talked about very much is whenever they're in a home where the families just aren't there.
Right.
And they're having to sit there and raise the little kids and make dinner and everything for them. Well, they come back into your home and fostering, or maybe they're getting adopted, and they act like the parent. Like they are the parent. They try to control the chores.
they're
They
your
try to
junior
control the food.
staffers.
Yes, junior staffers.
Right.
I mean, the best thing to do in that scenario is just set them down and be like, hey, we're the parents here. You're only 9 years old, or you're only 13 years old. Be a kid. Enjoy being a kid, because this is the only time you can be a kid. And so basically, whenever you're setting down and telling them that, just relieve them of their duties is what I like to think of. Let them be their own person and be their own kid and do their own things.
I give you permission to be a kid. And other than that, and some chores, that's what you have to
just
do.
worry about that. You
Right.
worry about school.
And I think
worry
I
about
like what you
about-
said, making it positive,
Mhm.
because if you make it a negative thing, they're gonna think, well, they don't like me because whatever, or they don't like. But make it a real positive thing. I know in the past you've had to do this, but here you can just be a kid.
Right.
You
And
can have fun.
I know what you do with your older kids is you make them in charge of the chores.
Yep.
Which, if they're an older kid and they're doing nothing, hey, why not make them in charge of something to, act like the parent, but
Right.
not be the parent.
Right, exactly. Give them something to be in charge of, but they don't have to be in charge of everything.
Right.
And I think that that's really good. And we do see that a lot, especially in parents that weren't around a lot. One of the things that I always do, and I always set my mind this way, we just had to do it yesterday with Robert, who is our 17-year-old, who was neglected a lot. But one of the things that I always do is, if I'm going to be late picking him up from school, or we want him to do something then normal, so he doesn't ever have to have those flashbacks or whatever, I always make sure that we call the school and we let them know what's going on, and then let our kid know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I kind of am over protective that way, because the way I look at it is, if we don't tell Robert what's going on and he's stuck at school, and we don't show up for an hour or whatever because we have 10 kids and we don't necessarily always able to get right when we can. If we communicate that with them, then they don't have to have any kind of thoughts. Oh, I wonder if they're going to pick me up. Oh, I wonder
It's
if
reassurance
they're
is
gone.
what it is.
Yeah, and they're
Just-
starting to have flashbacks of their old past.
Yeah, if you tell them and you also tell the school or wherever they're at, it's reassurance, and the kid will actually know that, oh yeah, they didn't leave me, they're actually picking me up.
Exactly. And parent-teacher conferences. Positive thing. Sometimes they don't want you to go to parent-teacher conferences because their parents never went and they did whatever at school. And I just like to tell my kids, hey, when's parent-teacher conferences? I like to go and meet all your teachers, and I like to just find out what you guys are doing in school, instead of it being the negative thing. You turn it into a positive thing. I want to be there. And I want to learn what you're doing. I want to see where I can help you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is by going to those parent-teacher conferences, you actually know what the kid's learning in each class. So then you can help them later on in the home, and maybe they'd feel safer and be like, oh yeah, I can learn this because you're helping them.
Yeah, my mom and dad never went to parent-teacher conferences, they'll tell you. And but what they're also not telling you is their mom and dad never helped them with homework. They never helped them with all of the other things that go with parenting. And so we want to show them that we want to be involved.
Right.
And I've talked about this before. show up to those athletic activities, and it's okay to yell out, good job, great,
Yes.
and kind of reassure them, because a lot of those kids haven't had that too. And it's a weird feeling for kids. And again, our kids have talked about this. Sometimes they don't want to participate in extracurricular activities because their parents never went to them, and the other kids' parents always showed up, and that made them feel awkward.
Yes.
So reassure them when you're talking about extracurricular activities that you want to show up, you want to be involved.
We will be here as much as we can to
Yeah.
support you.
Yeah,
no
and we
matter
want
what you're
to. Yeah, we want to watch you grow in your sport and that kind of stuff. And if you can't be there, I'm sure that a lot of times there's a grandparent, an aunt, or
Right.
uncle, family friend, or somebody that wants to be there,
Uh-huh.
and that's still showing support, and then they feel like somebody showed up for them too.
Yes.
And it's a big deal. I'll never forget. We went to a football game in the little town that we used to live in. And I told my partner, I said, let's just kind of let them go and do their thing, and we'll stand up, we'll sit in the top of the bleachers there, and, we just didn't want to infringe on their school and stuff.
Yes.
And all night we were laughing because our kids kept bringing all their friends up. Oh, this is our dad's, and
Uh-huh.
da 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 da, and everybody was coming to meet us and stuff. And it was really the opposite of what I thought they wanted. I thought that they probably just wanted us to leave them alone, and ew, my parents are here and I don't want anybody to meet you. And in actuality, they wanted everybody to meet us, and
Yes.
they wanted to introduce us to everybody. And
Well, if you think about it, I mean, other than those activities, you're really not seeing their friends unless you have them over to your house for a slumber party or a sleepover or something. So really, if you just go and hang out at those games, or even if it's like a chess tournament, and you sit there, then that's when they're able to bring up their friends and actually meet you for the first time.
exactly. So we're talking all things neglect today on Foster Life. We'll be back to wrap up.
Foster TV is looking for 12 nonprofits in the United States that serve or work with foster and adoptive youth. Send us a short story or email about how you support the community.
So send your story today.
That's it. Welcome back to Foster Life. Today we are talking about neglect and kind of wrapping things up. One of the things that we see a lot with our kids that have been neglected, that are older, is sometimes they don't want to hang out with friends. They hung out with friends a lot, or they didn't have family around a lot. Some of my kids say, I didn't have a family for a long time, and now I have a family, and I just want to hang out with my family. I just want to be with you guys.
Well, I know for me, kind of like that right there. For me, it was, man, I love hanging out with my family. Why would I want to go hang out with friends? I have a good time with my family.
Right. And that's okay too. We sometimes will encourage them to hang out with friends, and we will give them a goal. This week, I want you to invite somebody over the house, or I want you to go spend an hour, but
Which with somebody that has been neglected and, I mean, has had nobody around, they don't really have, I mean, you may have to look at their social skills and be like, yeah, let's invite some people over. That way you interact, and we see how you interact, and that way we can figure out what we need to do in order to get you to where you're actually doing what you need to as a kid.
Right, exactly. And I think that that's important as well. This summer, Tristan and I will be on the road.
Yes.
Foster Life Summer Tour. If you would like us to come to your city and do a workshop for adoptive parents, foster parents, and kinship parents, we would love to come and see you. And you can send us an email, and I'll get back to you within a timely manner, and we can set that up for you. Also, we're going to be doing shows for bio families as well. So if you are with social services or an independent agency and you would like us to do a workshop with your bio parents, we would love to come and talk to them about staying on track to get their kids back for reunification. And we'd like to do that as well. We have 3 fundraisers coming up this summer, one in Colorado, one in Nashville, and one in Florida. Until next time on Foster Life, happy Wednesday. We'll see you here on Friday on Foster Life.
Bye.
See you later.